All right, I'm here with an updated look at my Xbox 360 collection. It's been a while since I updated this one. I recently recorded the original Xbox collection, so I figured I'd kind of stay in the Xbox sphere for the collection videos on this one and head over to the Xbox 360. So if you are an Xbox 360 fan, you might want to check out my PS3 collection video as well, because I did most of my gaming as far as multi-platform goes on the PlayStation 3. So I did not do too much over on the Xbox 360. I didn't get an Xbox 360 till way later. So um, I don't have as much experience with the Xbox 360. A lot of the games from that generation that are like the iconic multi-platform games, I have on PS3, or I've played on PS3. So this is more just stuff that I've randomly accrued, or exclusives, things like that. So I'll jump into it now. First game here, Alpha Protocol. This is a Obsidian developed game that Sega published, interestingly enough. It's an RPG that they did. Kind of interesting that they did this one, but not anything, obviously that they ever followed up on. Some Assassin's Creed. I don't have a lot of experience with Assassin's Creed. I've never been the biggest fan, but I've, accumulated some of the games over the years. So got Assassin's Creed 2. I know that one's obviously classic, as well as Brotherhood is, but I also have Assassin's Creed 3. And Brotherhood, I've always thought like maybe I will give the series another shot. I was never crazy about it when I was, trying it out. But I've always thought maybe I'll give the series another shot. And, and they're so easy to find and so cheap to find. So I also have Revelations too, as well, I should say. So that's, not a series I have a whole lot of experience with, but good to have, in the library, in the collection. Beautiful Katamari. This is an Xbox 360 exclusive Katamari game. They might have I know they did a re-roll of this Katamari Damacy. So I'm wondering if they maybe did one of this. I feel like they did, or it was rumored that they might do it. I don't remember, but Katamari is interesting. It's, there's kind of a lot of them for what the series is, but it's an interesting series, fun series. So, and yeah, weird that they have an Xbox 360 exclusive one. The first of the epic trilogy of Burger King games, Big Bumpin'. I do remember being a kid and being at Burger King with my friend who had an original Xbox, and he asked and begged his mom to buy him the 3 Burger King games. I think they were like $6 each or something crazy, but they're published by Burger King, developed by Blitz Games. Very, very weird. But, interesting. Not great. Not great games by any means. Interesting, but not, anything you probably want to play other than, throwing it on and saying, hey, that's kind of funny, right? Bionic Commando, this is the reboot that Capcom did of the NES game. Just kind of that era where Capcom had no idea what they were doing, putting out like weird, they had a bunch of Western developers doing stuff and putting out a bunch of games, and yeah, I'm glad we have the Capcom that we have now. Blaze Blue Continuum Shift. Cool to have. I don't know. I'm not a big, fighting game fan. I really appreciate Arc System Works, though, in their games. I really like their pixel art, their art style and everything. Very cool stuff there, but I'm not going to pretend like I know what sets this apart from any other Blaze Blue game, because I'm no fighting game expert. This is a Japanese one. Chaos Head Love Choo Choo. This is a very funny one, just because, one day I'm in Nakano Broadway with, on my most recent trip to Japan. And I'm in one of the game stores there, finding stuff. This was on my list of games to find just because I like Chaos Head, the actual visual novel. This is a spin-off, dating simulator, so I'm not going to play this one. But I just find, Xbox 360 exclusive games from Japan interesting, because there's no, market for Xbox in Japan, hardly at all. But I'm, in this game store, and my friend comes in. I was the only one in there. My friends had kind of dispersed. My friend comes in and finds me, and he's like, "Hey, I just saw Michael B. Jordan." And I was like, "Yeah, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just, saw him in Nakano Broadway. He had a group of people. I don't know if it was friends or security or something. He's like, yeah, I had a group of people with him, and it was definitely him. And my other friends were like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I saw the group of people. I didn't really see him, but yeah. And I just find it funny that, acclaimed movie star Michael B. Jordan's chilling out in Nakano Broadway, and I miss seeing him because I'm in this game store going, hey, excuse me, one copy of Chaos Head Love Choo Choo for the Xbox 360, please. So, that's just kind of the things that happen to me, I guess. Chrome Hounds. This is from software developed, Sega published. I don't think you can play this anymore. I think it was Microsoft or Xbox exclusive. I don't think you can play it anymore. I think it was online only. I don't think servers exist. But correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But just kind of an interesting curio, I'll say that much. I'm not going to say curio again. Nobody says curio. Come on. Don't know what this fuzz is here. Not sure what's up with that. Probably from my dusting cloths when I dust my shelves and everything. Crime and Punishment Sherlock Holmes. I believe these are Ukrainian developed. Yeah, Frogware, they're a Ukrainian studio. And I've actually heard pretty decent things about these as far as, I like detective games, stuff like that. I've heard they're pretty decent, so I found this one cheap and decided to throw it in the collection. Maybe I'll get to it one day. But I don't know too much about this, but I do know that Frogwares is Ukrainian studio, so. Dante's Inferno. This is like this was developed by Visceral, like from Dead Space, and they did kind of a God of War-esque game, character action game. Heard good things about it. Found it for cheap. Heard good things about this one, so would like to try it at some point. I know it's backwards compatible, which is what's something great about 360. Sometimes I look at I liked the PS3 at the time, but I kind of wish I would have maybe, built up some of my collection on 360, because now these games being backwards compatible and having the, frame rate boosts and resolution bumps and everything would be really nice, because, if I want to play a PS3 game, I got to put it into the PS3. So not all the 360 games are backwards compatible, obviously, but a good chunk of them are. A lot of the most, notable ones are. And that's pretty nice, pretty cool. But luckily, 360 is pretty cheap to collect for, pretty cheap to buy for. So, if there's anything I'd ever want, I could, probably not, and wanted to play it on Series X, I could, probably just end up getting it, for not too much. Darksiders, another, I guess, character action type game, almost like God of War type, but I've never really given this series a go. I've heard, good things. It's one of those series, it's kind of like, I don't know, it survived through a lot. It survived through, THQ downfall and then being bought by Embracer Group, all this stuff. So, but yeah, not tried it yet. Don't know too much about that series, but I've heard it's good. Deadpool. This was cool when they did this, because this was like pre, the Ryan Reynolds movies and everything. It was cool when they did this. I know it was kind of a flop. It was just the budget was way too high. It didn't sell super well. But it's not an amazing game. It's not a great game or anything. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's funny. There's some really good jokes alongside some really crappy jokes that are just really kind of forced. But, it is what it is. They kind of throw everything at the wall and not all of it sticks. But fun one for sure, especially if you're a fan of the character. I know this one kind of shot up in price for modern consoles because they ported it to PS4, Xbox One, but I don't know if it's expensive on 360, PS3. Dead Space. I know Dead Space has a lot of fans, and I played through the original Dead Space before. I played it on Series... I guess I played it on Xbox One S. I didn't have a Series X then. Like backwards compatible, the 360 version. And I thought it was good, but I thought it was... A lot of people are like, this is better than Resident Evil 4. This is one of the best survival horror games of all time. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But the remake... I played it, I played it kind of almost back to back. I think it was maybe 2 months between me playing Dead Space and then playing the remake. The remake is excellent. The remake is probably one of the best, survival horror games of all time. So this is my only experience I have with the series. I've not played Dead Space 2 or 3. I'd like to play 2. 3 doesn't really interest me. I've not heard great things, and it just doesn't look what I'm looking for. But I'd like to get a cheap copy of Dead Space 2 on Xbox 360 and play through it on my Series X at some point. That is definitely on the list. But yeah, Dead Space, pretty cool game. Not a very cool game. Duke Nukem Forever. An interesting one. I mean, it took forever to develop. And it's funny now, you look at stuff like this and you're like, that's child's play. There's plenty games with way worse development times going on now. We're still waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? But Duke Nukem Forever, probably not worth the wait. Will Beyond Good and Evil 2 be worth the wait? Probably not. Another one, like Elder Scrolls 6 will probably be about as long as Duke Nukem Forever from, reveal to release. So, shout out, I guess, right? Shout out. What do we got here? Earth Defense Force, Insect Armageddon. I'm not too familiar with this franchise. I know it's kind of like a, low budget, shoot a bunch of bugs type game, which, has its audience, but I'm not too familiar with the series. I have friends who are, but I don't know too much about it otherwise. Fable Anniversary. My experience with Fable, I've not played this remaster specifically, but I've played some of the original game on the original Xbox, and it's neat. It's interesting. It's one I'd like to dive into more. If I had infinite time, I'd like to dive into it more, but I've not played too much else of the series. But I think the new game looks pretty cool. It got pushed to next year, but I think that game looks pretty cool. But something interesting I realized is that the distance between Fable 1 and Fable 3 in release it will be shorter than the distance between when Fable was originally revealed to when it'll end up coming out, which is crazy. So games are getting too big. Too big. Fable 2. Like I said, I've not had too much experience with the series, so I also have Fable 3, but I don't have too much to say. But it's cool that they're all on, 360, ready to go. Lionhead, Peter Molyneux, interesting studio, no longer around, but always weird that it took so long for Xbox really to do much more with Fable. They had that stupid Kinect game and that kind of crap, but always weird that they didn't, try to make it one of their big pillars, especially, Xbox One era, where they had, what do they have? Halo, which was, 343 Halo, which is not nearly as liked as regular Halo. And then Gears of War, that was kind of it, and Forza, I guess. But, as far as, big AAA story-based games, they were, not doing great. Fallout 3, I'd like to give Fallout another chance. The only one I've ever really played is Fallout 4, and I wasn't crazy about it. I never finished it or anything. But I've heard Fallout 3 is the one that people really like. And I always thought maybe that I just don't like Western RPGs, but then I realized that, I played Cyberpunk, and I really liked that game. So I really think that I just don't know how I feel about Bethesda RPGs, because I'm not a big Skyrim fan either. I didn't do anything for me, but still, heard enough about Fallout 3. I'd like to give it a shot at some point. Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. I have never played 13-2. I hear this one's good. I've never finished 13. I just couldn't get through it. I think it's too boring. So I've never gotten through it or anything. But I'd like to give them a shot once again if I had infinite time. And I got these for cheap of the 360 versions, which I played them on PS3 when I tried it out. And I have them all on PS3, but I know that these are pretty nicely upscaled 4K and everything for Series X. So just figured, to have the best version of it on hand since I got them for a good deal. Full Auto, another game published by Sega that I feel like no one remembers. But I played around with this one actually when I got it because I never tried it out before. And it was, pretty fun. Regular, just kind of car crashing, racing, mess around kind of a game. Gears of War, I've played some of the first one. I know it's a pretty short game, so I have no excuse to never finish it. I'd like to go through all of them. And, looking at that, rumor that they're coming to PlayStation, I think would be pretty cool. Maybe play them co-op or something. At some point, I'd like to do that, but we will see when that ever happens. I don't have too much to say about the 343 Halos. I've never played them too much. Well, I guess only Halo 4 is the only, one I have for 360 that's here. I got this from the GameStop dumpster, actually. And then Halo Reach, I've never played either. I'm not, I appreciate Halo. I've only ever really played the original Xbox games. Weirdly, I don't have I don't own Halo 3. That's bizarre for an Xbox 360 collection. I don't know what's up with that. Okay. But Infinite Undiscovery, pretty interesting. Square Enix published 360 exclusive JRPG. nothing like out of this world amazing. And I don't, you know, no, I don't remember too much about it. I never finished this one either, but one of the best names of all time in a game, Infinite Undiscovery. I mean, truly a special name for a special little game there. Delving deep into the dark age of the 360, we have some Kinect games. Kinect Adventures. As well as Kinect Star Wars. I hate the Kinect. It's so bad. It's just awful. And it is when the shift, I feel like there was a shift between, you know, early 360 to this, you know, era of 360 going into Xbox One, where, you know, they were trying to get exclusives. They were locking down like exclusive games from Japan. They were, you know, publishing stuff, and then that all stopped. I feel like at the Kinect, they were like, let's go for Kinect and, you know, have a Kinect focus. And I really feel like that's when kind of PS3 became the console. And that was when I got, you know, my PS3 over the 360, because I kind of looked at the Kinect and I was like, it looks like a lot of the games coming out from here on out are like Kinect crap. And obviously the third party stuff, but like the exclusives, it was like Kinect Sports, Kinectimals, Kinect Adventures, Kinect Star Wars. Awful. I have these because I have the Xbox 360 bundle, the Star Wars one with R2-D2, and it came with these, but I cannot stand the Kinect. It's I think it's so awful. Like a huge misstep for them. And then making the Xbox One have Kinect, you know, be required at launch for a good while. Huge misstep for those guys. The Last Remnant, another... I don't think I've ever played this one. Another, you know, Square Enix JRPG for the 360. I think they actually remastered that recently. I don't think I've ever played that one. Maybe I have. Lost Planet. This was an interesting series from Capcom. I also have Lost Planet 2. Interesting series from Capcom. Kind of weird it never went on. I mean, there was Lost Planet 3. I don't have that one. But Lost Planet 3 wasn't developed like by Capcom or anyone. It was just outsourced, and I don't think it was very good. So, but yeah, I mean, Capcom's bringing everything back, and they, you know, they did have a few series. They had Dead Rising, which was Western developed, and they had, you know, Lost Planet. And I think, you know, those were somewhat well liked. So I don't really know, you know, why they have not brought this one back. They brought back, you know, Dead Rising with that deluxe remaster or whatever it was called. So I'm surprised that they've not cared to do anything with Lost Planet, but maybe I'm missing something because I'm not going to pretend to be a Lost Planet expert. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, pretty fun game. I mean, what can I say? Pretty fun game. Max Payne 3. I know this one was not developed by Remedy. It was just developed in-house at Rockstar. I'm a big Remedy fan, and I've not played the Max Payne games at all. So I'm looking forward to that remake that they do. And then maybe I'll try out Max Payne 3. I don't know if I'm interested enough in the story and not just like the Remedy-ness of it. Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This was actually a garage sale find. I just thought the steelbook was cool. I like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but my experience with MVC3 is actually the Vita port of Ultimate, which I liked that one quite a bit. I thought, you know, pretty fun. But obviously it doesn't hold a candle to the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but it's still a pretty fun game. Naughty Bear. This is a real turd of a game, but it's something, you know, it's somewhat funny. Of course, A2M, Artificial Minded Movement, went on to become Behavior Interactive, who made, who work on Dead by Daylight. So they went on to bigger and better things. But yeah, Naughty Bear, it's an interesting little title. It's not very good. It runs at like 2 frames per second, it feels like. Not very good, but it's kind of funny. Ninja Blade. This is a From Software developed game. It was exclusive, I think, to 360. Yeah, and it's like a character action type Ninja Gaiden almost type game, but with kind of crazy set pieces and stuff. Don't hear that one talked about very often. Ninja Gaiden 3. I've not played this one. I remember that when they did the Razor's Edge version, which was like Wii U exclusive. I bought that and I kept that sealed. I never played that one either. I got it on clearance because no one was buying that for the Wii U. Another one of these awesome Burger King games, Pocket Bike Racer. Not a good one. What's unfortunate, about my life is that I actually, own all three Burger King games. So kind of sad, but these are interesting in the fact that they play on the original Xbox or the 360. And the 360 version has like achievements and stuff. I mean, that's kind of neat, I guess. Prince of Persia, this was like the reboot that they did. I feel like this was around the time of the live action movie, but I don't entirely remember. Project Sylphied, Arc of Deception. I remember having this game. I remember trying this game out, and I couldn't tell you anything about it. Another 360 exclusive. Square Enix published it. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't know. It's an engaging space saga from Square Enix, the makers of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. That's what I'll tell you about it. Quantum of Solace. I think I got this in the GameStop dumpster. It's a steelbook. I don't know. Cubed, this one's kind of interesting. It is a collection. It has Lumines in it. It has Res. It has, I don't even know what this other game was. Every Extend, Extra, Extreme. It's cool just to have, Res HD on a disc, though. That's kind of the selling point of this one. But not one you see a whole lot either, but pretty nice to have that one. Red Faction Guerrilla. Volition's been shut down, unfortunately. They were the developers of the Red Faction series, but kind of known for its destruction and stuff like that. Sorry, I don't have much to say about a lot of these. A lot of these games, because I go out and get a lot of games at garage sales, flea markets, buy collections and stuff and get them for cheap. A lot of them I'm like, I'll throw this in the collection. It's cool one to have. And I'll get to it at some point. I try some of them out. Some of them I don't. So some of them, I don't stick with. I try to, when I play games, I really try to be like, I'm going to play this one game until I beat it, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. So when, I'm not going to just sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to play half hour of Red Faction Guerrilla, and then a half hour of Last Remnant, and then a half hour of Chaos Head Love Choo Choo. I would rather just say, you know what, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to play Chaos Head Love Choo Choo beginning to end. And that's what I'd do. Rise of Nightmares, another Kinect game, but this one's just weird. It was like a Kinect horror game. This one I have tried out. It's very bad. Sega published it. It's interesting, but it's not by any means good or anything. Silent Hill Homecoming. I've not played the Silent Hill games after, Team Silent. So I don't know anything about these ones, really. I know they're not very well liked, but I believe this is backwards compatible. But this is when they went to Western Studios to develop, and I know, I'd rather them not have done that. But I still need to play Silent Hill 4. I've kind of just been saving that one of like, I'll get to it at some point, but I feel like the time is coming. Sneak King. This is the pinnacle of Burger King Xbox games, and that's not really saying much because it's also not very good, but you sneak up on people, you give them a nice whopper, and that's the gameplay. That's about it. Another Japanese one, Steins Gate. This came originally console exclusive to the 360, which is so weird, but obviously pretty iconic visual novel. Probably my favorite visual novel of all time. One of the best games of all time for me, honestly. Fantastic game. I didn't play it till PS3, but fantastic game. I wanted to have a physical copy of the 360 version, and I found it when I was in Japan, so glad that I was able to get that. But yeah, just cool to have. Great game. If you like visual novels and have not played Steins Gate, play it. Try to play the original. It's on Steam. It's on PS3. It's on Vita. Because I don't like the Elite version's fine, but it's not as good as the original. Soul Calibur 4. This was when they had Yoda on the 360 version. I think Darth Vader was on the PS3 version. Kind of interesting, but once again, Soul Calibur, it's like they've just gave everything over to Tekken. They're like, all right, Tekken, take it over. This is all we care about with fighting games. Namco over there. So, no real interest in bringing Soul Calibur back after 6, doesn't seem like. Super Street Fighter 4. I don't have a lot of experience with fighting games, like I said, and I don't have a lot of experience with Street Fighter 4, so I'm going to just keep moving on. Tales of Vesperia. This was always a weird one because it was 360 exclusive in the United States until they did the definitive edition that they released on like PS4 and Switch as well. But that generation, the only way to play it on 360. And one of the better Tales games. I like that one. Tetris Evolution. I just feel like you have to have Tetris on every system that it's available on. You have to have some form of Tetris. And I guess this is an exclusive version of the Xbox 360, the Evolution version. But I don't know, saying that this is only on Xbox 360, it's like, yeah, it's Tetris. You can play it on, a watch. Universe at War, Earth Assault. I kept it because how could you say no to this cover art? And also, it's published by Sega. It's an RTS. It's not really my genre, but I mean, come on, that cover art, that name, come on. Virtua Tennis 3. I mean, come on. Virtua Tennis 3? How could you not? No, as far as tennis games go, pretty good tennis game. Virtua Tennis been around, was around for a while, but as far as tennis games go, I mean, that's certainly one of them. Viva Pinata. I don't really care about Viva Pinata. This was like, to me, I was like, rare. This isn't rare. I don't care about Pinata Vision, any of that stuff. Like, just give me real rare. Don't give me whatever this is. Get out of here. Get out of here, Viva Pinata. The Wheelman. Now, this is a game that shouldn't get out of here. Wheelman with Vin Diesel. This game is sick. This game is awesome. Vin Diesel is the Wheelman, and there's pretty much nothing more that you could even want in a video game other than this. So if you want a game that's about family, you got it right there. And then finally, because this is in a bigger box, but it's completely out of alphabetical order, Oblivion, which I think is the funniest game ever made, completely unintentionally. But the fact that all of the lines were, recorded in alphabetical order instead of in order of like how they would be spoken, so all the lines sound weird. All the glitches are so funny. Just Oblivion glitches. There's nothing funnier than that video where the guy, the guy gets crushed. He goes up on this thing and gets crushed and then comes back down. And then some other knight guy comes in and is like, may he rest in peace. And then he goes up and gets crushed too. That's the funniest video ever. That video gets me every time. That and like the guy who's like talking and then all of a sudden his voice changed and he's like, okay, I'll show you. There's something about that that's so funny. Oblivion's so funny. I know there's rumors that they're going to remake this one. If they touch the voice lines, if they touch the bugginess, maybe give it a fresh coat of paint. Even then, just don't do it. No one plays Oblivion to play Oblivion nowadays. People play it because it's funny. And that's what's most important, is it's funny. So don't mess it up, Bethesda. If you do, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to really care. I'm going to keep going back to the original, watching clips of the original game because it's funny. So that's my Xbox 360 collection. Like I said, check out my PS3 collection video. It's pretty up to date, and it's going to probably have more. I spent more time with that system, so I'm going to have more thoughts on games overall, as well as, you'll probably see a good amount of those, multi-platform games from that era on there that I was interested in playing at that time, because I didn't get a 360 until like 2014, because I wanted the the Star Wars Xbox version. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, leave a comment down below with any games that you think I should check out that I already have, or any games that you think I should add to my 360 collection, maybe games that are backwards compatible or games that are exclusive to the 360. And follow me on Blue Sky over at Objo Gaming. And until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching.